Hello, welcome everyone. This is the 2026 construction seminar series titled Building a Stronger Workforce. The KCA and the KCA Mental Health Awareness Task Force is extremely excited about this series of seminars, and we are just delighted to have a great partnership in ProA. ProA developed this presentation and this education that you're about to learn about and hear about. And I think you're going to have a lot of takeaways from today. But again, I'm John O'Brien from KCA. I'll be your host, I guess, MC for the next 4 sessions. So following today, we have session 2, February 24th. That's going to be hybrid at Pannoni. Session 3 will be hybrid as well, thanks to Kara McCaffrey. Hauk is going to host session 3. That's March 25th. Session 4 is back at Pannoni on April 22nd. That's going to be ProA as well as the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So we're going to talk a lot of resources at the 4th and final session. That's the future, but now we're here to talk about today, and I'm excited to kick this off. And without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Nikki Ware from ProA. Hopefully I said that correctly. But yeah, welcome everyone, and feel free for questions. Feel free to put them in the chat or to raise your hand virtually, and we'll get to your questions. All right, take it away, Nikki.
Awesome. Thanks, John. My name is Nikki Weir, and I am with ProA. We are Pennsylvania Recovery Organizations Alliance. And thank you, John, for getting this together and allowing us to present. We are working under a grant from the PCCD, which is Pennsylvania Commission of Crime and Delinquency, that we received a grant to work with trades industry and unions on educating about substance use, supplying resources, talking about having peers in your your employees, and then also what it means to be recovery friendly. So on the screen, with us having a grant, we have to give them certain data that we get from doing these trainings. So in the upper right corner of your screen, you'll see a QR code. If you could please click on that QR code, there is a pre-test, and it's not a test. It is just to see, there's 10 questions there to see what you know about what we're going to be talking about today. And at the end, we will do a post-test, and it'll be the same questions just to see how much you've learned. I also, if you do not use a QR code, I just added the link in the chat. And if you could take just a couple minutes here as we get started to just fill that out, I would truly appreciate that. And again, everything is confidential. We do not use your name. And you'll see on the pre and post test where it says create a sort of like a code where it's a couple initials of your name and your date of birth. All right. So through the PCCD, our program is called ProA Works Project. And today we're going to be talking about Substance Use 101 and the trades industry. I just wanted to let you know our executive director is William Stauffer for ProA. We have our program director is Patricia Baranowski, or Patty, as I call her. She's my supervisor. And Patty will be doing the training, the second training, as I will just be coming home that day from Morocco. So you will have her. And again, I'm Nikki Weir, and I'm the program coordinator. Patty, did you just want to say hi?
Hello, everyone. Grateful to be here. I wish I was going to Morocco. However, I will be grateful to be here presenting next month. So thanks, Nikki.
Thanks, Patty. All right, so we are ProA. We are one of the first recovery community organizations in the nation. We were founded in 1998, and we are a statewide recovery community organization. Our mission is to mobilize, educate, and advocate in order to eliminate the stigma and discrimination toward those affected by substance use disorders, to ensure hope, health, and justice for individuals, families, and those in recovery. Our presentation objectives today, by the end of this presentation, you should be able to list at least three signs and symptoms of substance use disorder, identify and explain contributing factors of substance use disorder, name some risk factors for individuals susceptible to substance use disorder, and understand the concepts, sorry about that, of tolerance and withdrawal, identify impacts of substance use on the trades industry, and learn and begin to apply prevention and support strategies for addressing substance use. And that last one will go throughout the series. So just a little bit, a little icebreaker to get to know each other a little bit, and participation is completely voluntary. The most critical question, if you could have a superpower, any superpower for a day, what would it be? Or a secondary question, since we're working with the trades, what's a tool you can't live without and why? And I originally thought this was going to be an in-person meeting or hybrid. And so I was going to sort of chuckle and say, I wish I was invisible because this makes me a little nervous. But seriously, today I was looking out the window, and as cold as it's been, I wish my superpower, I could be like Superwoman for a day to like fly somewhere warm. And I'd be okay with that. Would anybody else like to add to it?
So Nikki, I agree with being invisible no matter what. That way I can hear conversations. I could, do some fun things. And I love that Brent said the phone as well. So we have a response on the side, and I actually agree. The tool can't live without is the phone. Probably every half an hour, no matter what, I'm looking something up, or I'm texting someone, or I'm working on it. So yeah, I agree with that. So
Thanks, Patty. Anybody else want to share?
Nikki, I don't know if you can see the chat, but we said great responses coming in there.
I did not. Oh, I didn't even see them. Aw. I love it. X-ray vision, a hammer. Okay. Tool calendars. Make everyone smile. Aw. Love it. Thank you guys for participating in that. All right, so let's get into it. So the American Medical Association's definition of addiction is a primary chronic disease with genetic, psychosocial, and environmental factors influencing its development and manifestation. Primary means that addiction is considered as a disease on its own, separate from other health issues that might be related to it. Even if someone has other health problems, addiction is still recognized as its own disease. Compare excessive substance use with fever, not so much a symptom of a disease, but the body's effort to reestablish lost harmony. Without treatment or engagement in recovery activities, addiction is progressive and can result in disability or premature death. So some of the healthcare costs. The total estimated economic cost to society due to use of tobacco, alcohol, and illegal drugs is estimated at $742 billion a year. Illicit drug use alone accounts for $193 billion in healthcare, productivity loss, crime, incarceration, and drug enforcement. And that was back in 2017. So I was doing some research to try and find out what it was for like closer to the year 2025. And everything that I looked up said that because of COVID and funding and the time it takes to research, that there aren't any more recent times. But I ran into something that said the US Bureau of Labor Statistics CPI data, the cumulative inflation from 2017 to 2025 is roughly 27 to 29%. So I used the 28%, which shows for tobacco, alcohol, and illicit drugs combined, it went up from 742 billion a year to 944 billion by 2025. And the only other thing that I did find that was done in the middle, and that was because of the opioid crisis, it escalated the economic impact with costs related to opiate use disorder soaring to 1.5 trillion, and that was by 2020. This does not include opiate-specific updated costs, new healthcare burdens, rising overdose mortality, criminal justice expansion, or long COVID-related substance use impacts. So if you add the 944 billion and the 1.5 trillion, or up to 2.5 trillion per year in societal costs. It's crazy. So studies indicate higher rates of alcohol and drug use among trades workers compared to some due to sectors, partly due to the physical and stressful nature of their work environments. Male-dominated occupations have higher rates of substance use. In many cases, younger men have higher rates of substance use disorders in all. In the construction field, for instance, 19% of workers, 1 in 5, have a substance use disorder. This is double the rate of educational and professional careers, fields where the workforce features a greater percentage of women and older workers. The cost to employers of untreated substance use disorders is high. On average, workers with untreated substance use disorders cost employees $8,255 per worker each year. What are some of the reasons? High physical demands. Many trades involve repetitive strain, heavy lifting, long hours, physically taxing tasks, high stress work conditions, tight deadlines, production pressure, and unpredictable workloads, increased stress levels, job insecurity, seasonal work, cultural norm in some of the trades. Substance use may be normalized as a coping tool or social bonding activity. Workers may fear stigma or job loss if they disclose their struggles. Irregular schedules and fatigue, early start times, long shifts, overtime, and inconsistent schedules disrupt sleep. Limited access to support. Many trade workers lack easy access to mental health or substance use services. Stigma and privacy concerns can prevent workers from seeking help. The combined impact is physical strain plus stress plus cultural pressure plus limited support creates a high-risk environment. Substance use becomes a coping mechanism rather than a recreational choice. Over time, this increases the likelihood of dependence, injury, and reduced job performance. Common substances used: alcohol. Alcohol consumption, even at moderate levels, can lead to various health issues. It increases the risks of high blood pressure, heart disease, liver disease, stroke, and a weakened immune system. I remember several years ago, they used to say it was good to have a glass of wine a day. And now they don't talk about all the health issues that alcohol actually has. Additionally, alcohol is linked to significant digestive problems and increases the risks of various cancers. Tobacco. Studies show that tobacco use is prevalent and poses severe health risks, including lung disease and cancer. Tobacco products are frequently used in various trade sectors, and their harmful effects are well documented. And we're talking not just smoking cigarettes, chewing tobacco, and now they have nicotine little pouches. Next is prescription medicines. Research highlights that prescription medications, including opioids and stimulants, are commonly used and can affect job performance and safety. Opiates, in particularly, are highly addictive and can quickly escalate into misuse or an opiate use disorder. And then illicit drugs. Studies indicate that illicit drug use, with marijuana being the most prevalent, is a significant concern. Illicit drugs can impair health and job performance, leading to increased workplace accidents and injuries. And now with medical marijuana around, people have easier access and a medical reason to use medical marijuana. These substances can affect workers' health, safety, and productivity, making it important for employers to address substance use in their workforce. Contributing factors include job-related stress, chronic pain, work culture that normalizes use, long hours, and limited access to mental health resources. The trades industry, particularly in construction and mining, is known for its high rates of alcohol and substance use disorder. Factors contributing to substance use in this sector include work hard, play hard culture. Social bonding often happens in settings where substance use is common. Workers may feel pressured to participate, to fit in, or maintain team cohesion. The culture can blur the line between casual use and risky patterns. Stigma. Negative attitudes and belief around getting help for substance can deter individuals from seeking help when needed, allowing problems to escalate. Workers may fear being judged or labeled as weak if they don't admit to struggling, or if they do admit to struggling, sorry. Workplace culture, a culture that supports alcohol as a normative behavior can contribute to substance misuse. Some trades emphasize toughness, self-resilience, and pushing through the pain. Talking about stress, burnout, or emotional strain may be discouraged. Physically demanding work. The physically demanding nature of trades work can lead to stress and substance use as coping mechanisms. Pain management, especially opioids, can become a pathway to misuse. Lack of supervision is in isolated work environments can increase the risk of substance use. Many job sites operate with minimal oversight, especially subcontracted or remote crews, limiting supervision can make the substance use easier to hide. And then employee mobility, high levels of employee mobility during the workday can lead to substance use for individuals who seek to avoid detection. Frequent transitions can disrupt continuity of care or access to support services. These factors highlight the complex interplay between work environment, individual characteristics, and societal influences that contribute to substance use in the trades industry. Addressing these factors is crucial for improving workplace health and safety and supporting employees with substance use disorder. So what are the signs of substance use disorder? According to the American Psychiatry Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the signs of substance use disorder include continuing to use the substance even when the problems and even when there's problems in the relationships, giving up social, occupational, or recreational activities because of substance use, using substances again and again, even when it puts you in danger, developing tolerance, the need for increased amounts to get the same effect, experiencing withdrawal, which can be relieved by taking. A couple more, taking the substance in longer amounts or for a longer amount of time than you meant if it's a prescription, having a strong desire or urge to use the substance, having unsuccessful efforts to cut down on or manage the substance use, having issues fulfilling responsibilities at work, school, or home due to the substance use. Most important, seeking medical care as soon as you have signs of substance use disorder is essential. The American Psychiatric Association, the DSM-5, changes the word from substance abuse and substance dependence to substance use disorder. It also tightens criteria for these disorders and grades them as mild, moderate, or severe. So the DSM-5 is basically the big rule book that mental and health professionals use to understand, describe, and diagnose mental health and substance-related conditions. Think of it like a dictionary plus a guidebook plus a checklist for mental health and addiction. It tells professionals what each condition is, what symptom to look for, how long symptoms need to last, how severe they need to be, and what counts as a disorder and what doesn't. So here you can see if someone is using alcohol proper usage, they have it without consequence. If they have a mild use disorder, the user may lead to significant consequences across all life areas. Moderate, they're having some life consequences, but their moderation is successful or a more significant problem is only in an early stage. And severe addiction, moderation is not effective and conditions can lead to death without intervention. The biochemistry of addiction. Our brain controls decision-making, letting us know when to go forward with an action and when to stop. Scientists have learned that for people with addiction, these stop and go symptoms are persons who do not have an alcohol use or substance use disorder have interacting systems with their brain that signal when to take action or go and when to refrain or stop. There isn't a clear on-off switch. Instead, the severity of the disorder is determined by the number and intensity of symptoms a person experiences. So what causes substance use or alcohol use disorder? There are many different parts of the brain with literally billions of different cells. As the different parts of the brain work together in harmony, optimal levels of functioning are achieved. Emotional and psychological trauma can change the cellular structure of the brain, even if it is the substance or addictive process itself. The brainstem, limbic system, and cerebral cortex all play different roles in how addiction develops and why it's so hard to break. The brainstem keeps you alive by controlling breathing, heart rate, and basic survival function. When someone uses addictive substances, the brainstem adapts to expect the drug. That's why withdrawal can feel physically dangerous. The body has learned to rely on the substance normally. The limbic system really takes hold, intense pleasure or relief. Over time, the brain starts to crave that feeling and pushes the person to seek the substance again and again. The cerebral cortex helps with thinking, decision-making, and self-control. Addiction weakens this part of the brain, making it harder to make good choices, resist urges, or think about long-term consequences. Put it all together, addiction hijacks the reward system, rewires survival function, and weakens decision-making. That's why addiction isn't about willpower, it's about changes in the brain that make stopping incredibly difficult. This slide compares the effects of blood alcohol levels on individuals with and without alcohol use disorder. It highlights how people with alcohol use disorder develop a significantly higher tolerance to alcohol. For example, at a blood alcohol concentration of 0.1, a non-alcohol use disorder brain might show signs of being tipsy, while an alcohol use disorder brain shows minimal effects. At higher levels, such as 0.3 or above, non-alcohol use disorder individuals may be in a coma or even dead, whereas those with alcohol use disorder can sometimes still function moderately despite the high alcohol levels. This tolerance difference is crucial in understanding the physiological adaptations in alcohol use and the risks involved with the high alcohol consumption. Drug use changes how the brain experiences pleasure and motivation. This is a brain-based condition, not a moral failure. This slide shows the brain's reward system, the part of the brain designed to help us survive. When we do things that keep us healthy, like eating, connecting with others, or accomplishing a goal, the brain releases dopamine. Dopamine helps us pleasure and reinforces behaviors that are important for survival. Dopamine chemical messenger linked to pleasure, motivation, and learning. It helps the brain remember that felt good, do it again. With normal activity, drugs of abuse flood the brain with dopamine, far more than natural rewards ever could. On the right side of the slide, you can see how drugs like cocaine cause a dramatic spike in dopamine. This overwhelming surge teaches the brain that the drug is extremely important for survival. With repeated drug use, the brain adapts. The brain may produce less dopamine naturally or reduce dopamine receptors. Everyday activities, food, family, work, hobbies may no longer feel rewarding. This is why substance use disorder is considered a chronic brain condition. The brain's chemistry and decision-making pathways are altered. It's not about weak willpower. It's about changes in brain function. The good news is the brain can heal with treatment and recovery. The role of genetics. Initial theories of a single addictive gene have essentially been disapproved by research. However, studies show that multiple genes play a role in the transmission of addiction from one generation to another. This is known as polygenic inheritance. At least half of a person's susceptibility to an alcohol use disorder or substance use disorder can be linked to genetic factors. When it comes to tobacco, genetics amount for about 75% of a person's inclination to begin smoking, but someone's genetic makeup will never lead part of addiction risk. The impact of trades industry workers is significant, affecting their health and safety. disorder on workers in the trades. Higher disorder industries such as construction, mining, and service sectors have higher rates of alcohol and substance use disorders, as we shared before. Workers in these sectors are more likely to experience substance use disorder due to the nature of their work and the associated stressor. So workplace safety risks. The presence of substance use disorder can increase the risk of workplace accidents and injuries. Workers with substance use disorder may have impaired judgment and decision-making abilities, leading to unsafe behaviors and practices. Health and productivity. Substance use disorder can lead to chronic absenteeism, increased injury risks, and unhealthy relationships, which can further impact the health and productivity of workers. Economic costs. The economic toll of substance use disorder is substantial, with costs to employers in lost productivity, healthcare, accidents, and more. Employers can mitigate these costs by investigating and investing in substance use screening and treatment programs. Preventative measures. Employers can play a critical role in preventing substance use disorder by providing access to treatment and maintaining recovery support for their employers. Understanding the prevalence of substance use disorder in the trades industry is crucial for employers to tailor interventions effectively and ensure the safety and health of their workforce. Businesses face legal liabilities for workplace accidents involving substance use. Employers may be held responsible for accidents, injuries, or property extend to situations where an employer knew or reasonably should have known about substance use and failed to take the appropriate action. Workers' compensation claims may increase when substance use contributes to workplace incidents. Civil lawsuits can arise if third parties are harmed due to impaired employee actions. Regulatory violations and lawsuits. Failure to maintain a safe work environment can result in violations of OSHA or other workplace safety regulations. Clear, well-communicated substance use policies help reduce risk and demonstrate due diligence. Policies should outline expectation, testing procedures, if applicable, support resources and consequences for violations, providing education, which we're doing today, training and access to support services such as employee assistance programs can help prevent issues before they escalate. Proactive approaches protect employees, reduce legal exposure, and promote a safer, healthier workplace culture. Let's look at the consequences of substance use disorder on our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual levels. So on our physical health, poor overall health, including dental, vision care, or lack of, weight and fluctuation, overeating or undereating, disrupted sleep patterns, restlessness. On mental health, poor concentration, confusion, hallucinations, obsessive thinking, suicidal ideation. Our emotional health, impulsiveness, self-defeating, self-destructive behavior, and spiritual health, resentfulness, self-pity, emptiness, despair, feeling of inner void, and self-blame and guilt. Each year, excessive alcohol consumption is responsible for approximately 178,000 deaths, highlighting its serious impact on public health. Alcohol not only increases the risk of various cancers, but also contributes to several chronic conditions. These include high blood pressure, heart disease, liver disease, stroke, and a weakened immune system, which can make the body more vulnerable to infections. Additionally, heavy drinking can cause significant digestive problems, overall well-being. Understanding these risks is crucial for promoting healthier lifestyle choices and reducing alcohol-related harm in the community. Some opioid use facts. Construction is a tough job, both physically and mentally. Physically, there are more opportunities for workers to be injured than in any other job. Muscle and bone injuries are common, and doctors often prescribe opioids for pain management. Opioids are highly addictive, and even prescribed use can very quickly escalate into misuse or an opiate use disorder. Some studies suggest that a person can experience withdrawal after only 5 days of prescribed medication. In addition, the psychological dependency associated with opioid use disorder is overwhelming. Many times the worker is taken by surprise in terms of becoming addicted. A little more on opioid use facts. Construction workers are 113% more likely to die of an overdose. That's 162.2 construction intentional overdose compared to 32.4 per 100,000 for the general population. Construction workers are 117% more likely to die of suicide, which is 53.3 construction workers per 100,000 died by suicide compared to 14 per 100,000 for the general population. One of the key takeaways is opioids include both legal prescription medications and illegal substances like heroin. Even when prescribed, opioids carry a high risk of dependence and overdose. Industries with high injury rates, especially construction, face disproportionate harm from opiate misuse. Parallels with other chronic conditions, substance use disorder behaves similarly to chronic illnesses such as asthma, type 1 diabetes, and hypertension, all of which involve ongoing management rather than a one-time cure. Periods of stability followed by potential flare-ups or recurrence, the need for long-term support, monitoring, and lifestyle adjustments, predictive factors of relapse and recurrence. Relapse and substance use disorder, much like symptom recurrence in other chronic diseases, is influenced by multiple overlapping factors. One is genetic factors. The genetic predisposition can increase vulnerability to substance use disorder. Again, just as genetics influence risks for asthma, diabetes, and hypertension. The metabolic and physiological factors, the changes in the brain chemistry and reward pathways affect relapse risk and substance use disorder. Similarly, metabolic dysregulation contributes to flare-ups in diabetes and hypertension. Behavioral and environmental factors, stress, exposure to triggers, lack of support, and inconsistent treatment adherence increase relapse risk. Asthma attacks, blood pressure spikes, and glucose inability often occur when behavioral management strategies lapse. Shared themes across chronic diseases, relapse is not a failure, but a recognized part of the disease of the course. Consistent treatment and follow-up reduce recurrence rates, and education support systems and early interventions. Integrated care, addressing physical, emotional, and social factors is essential for sustained stability. Key takeaway, substance use disorder aligns with other chronic illness and its biological basis, its vulnerability to relapse, and its need for ongoing comprehensive management. Understanding these parallels helps reduce stigma and it supports more effective compassionate care. So what is tolerance? Tolerance, when someone uses a substance regularly for a long period of time, the brain tries to get back to its normal balance. Over time, the original amount of the drug no longer has the same effect because the brain has adjusted. This means the person has to use more of the substance to feel the same effect as before. Once tolerance develops, taking the drug away suddenly can cause the brain and body to react negatively, leading to withdrawal symptoms. Tolerance versus obsession versus compulsion. Tolerance is needing more of the substance to get the same effect. Obsession is constantly thinking about the substance or craving it. And the compulsion is feeling a strong urge to use the substance even when you don't want to. So here's a simple analogy. It's called the seesaw effect. Think of the brain like a seesaw that wants to stay balanced. When a drug enters the brain, it's like dropping a heavy weight on one side of the seesaw. The brain slowly adds weight to the other side to balance things out again. If the drug hits the brain all at once, which is called a spike, the seesaw drops quickly and the person feels a strong high. If the drug enters slowly, the brain has time to adjust, and the high is much weaker or not noticeable. Once the brain has adapted, the person has to take more of the drug to tip the seesaw again and feel an effect. This ongoing need to increase the dose is what we call tolerance. Approximately 1/2 of individuals with alcohol use disorder who abruptly stop or reduce their alcohol use will develop signs or symptoms of alcohol withdrawal syndrome. The syndrome is due to overactivity in central and autonomic nervous systems, leading to tremors, insomnia, nausea, and vomiting, hallucinations, anxiety, and agitation. If untreated or inadequately treated, withdrawal progress to generalized tonic-clonic seizures, delirium tremors, and death. Addiction consequences: alcohol-related motor vehicle crashes cost an estimated $15.7 billion in medical expenses, lost productivity, legal costs, and property damage. These costs place a major financial burden on communities, healthcare systems, and employers. Mortality, alcohol use, and alcohol use disorders contribute to approximately 100,000 deaths each year in the United States. Causes include motor vehicle crashes, liver disease, alcohol poisoning, violence, and other alcohol-related health complications. The healthcare system impact: alcohol use is associated with 25% of all general hospital admissions. Common alcohol-related reasons for hospitalization include injuries, gastrointestinal issues, cardiovascular complications, withdrawal symptoms, and chronic liver disease. The rate of admissions increases healthcare costs and strains emergency and inpatient services. The changes in use: drinking or using as signs of too much. A person drinks or uses more or longer than they intended. A person will try to cut down or stop drinking, but still are not able to. That's sort of like using in moderation. A person needs to drink or use more of the substance than they once did to get the effect that they want. And we talked about that. That was the tolerance. Behavioral lifestyle changes: spending a lot of time drinking or using, recovering, or thinking about it. Substance use begins to interfere with daily responsibilities, such as work, school, or family life, losing interest in activities that used to matter, and loved ones, coworkers, or trusted friends have expressed concern about the person's drinking or drug use. And consequences and warning signs: legal problems, such as DUIs or arrests, employment issues, including absenteeism, relationship conflicts, or increased tension with family and friends, or financial strains related to substance use. And yay, we finally get to see what recovery looks like after all that substance use. So what recovery looks like: when individuals in the trades industry enter recovery from substance use disorder, it marks a journey of resilience and growth. Recovery involves rebuilding confidence and purpose, which can significantly enhance their job performance and overall well-being. Support networks play a crucial role in this process, offering new opportunities and fostering a sense of community and belonging. Recovery can lead to improved health, increased productivity, and a safer work environment. Workers in recovery often become advocates for wellness and safety, contributing positively to their workplace culture. Recovery isn't just about abstaining from harmful behaviors. It's about building a healthier, more stable life. Here are some tangible signs: getting to work on time. Consistent punctuality shows improved time management and reliability. Better overall health. Physical health improves as harmful habits decrease and healthy routines take root. Higher productivity. Increased focus and energy lead to better performance and efficiency. Healthy coping skills. Learn to manage stress, cravings, and emotional triggers. Self-directed lives. Individuals in recovery can take control of their own lives, making decisions that align with their values and goals. Emotional healing. Recovery can provide emotional healing, helping individuals to address past trauma and develop a sense of self-worth. Stronger relationships, building and maintaining relationships with peers, family, and support networks is crucial for long-term recovery. Self-belief and motivation, believing in one's ability to recover and staying motivated through the process is vital for success. And there's so much more that goes with that. Workplace policies and educational programs, sort of like what we are doing today, have clear substance use policies, regular training and awareness campaigns, help set expectations and reduce stigma, encouraging safer worker environments. The value of workplace policy and education programs on substance use lies in their ability to create a supportive and safe work environment. These programs help to prevent substance use, reduce the stigma, encourage recovery. Programs that support recovery can help employees struggling with substance use disorder to access the necessary treatment and resources, ultimately improving their health and productivity, and also promote employee well-being. Implementing these policies and programs is essential for creating a workplace that is not only safe, but also supportive of the health and well-being of the employees. Access to treatment and support resources. Confidential counseling access provides a private, judgment-free space for workers to discuss substance use concern. It allows employees to seek help early without fear of stigma or workplace consequences. Rehabilitation programs offer structured professional treatment for substance use disorder. They may include detox, inpatient care, outpatient care, counseling, and long-term recovery planning. They focus on building skills for sustained wellness, relapse prevention, and healthier lifestyle habits. And then employee assistance programs. They provide workplace-based resources to support mental health, substance use recovery, and personal challenge. Often include short-term counseling, referral to treatment providers, and crisis support. When a workplace makes treatment and support easy to access, they don't just help employees, they change lives. Confidential counseling, rehabilitation options, and strong employee assistance programs empower workers to step forward, to get support, and build healthier futures. When people feel safe asking for help, recovery becomes possible, and the entire workplace becomes stronger, safer, and more connected. Encouraging open communication, peer support, and leadership commitment fosters a positive environment that prioritizes health, safety, and early intervention. Open communication, fostering an open dialogue, helps identify health and safety concerns early and builds trust among team members. Regularly scheduled meetings, anonymous feedback channels, and open door policies can facilitate this communication. Peer support. Encouraging peer support strengthens community bonds and promotes collective well-being and safety. Peer support programs where workers are trained to recognize signs of distress and provide initial support can be highly effective. These programs not only offer immediate assistance, but also create a culture of mutual care and responsibility. And then leadership commitment. Strong leadership commitment ensures consistent prioritization and resources for wellness and safety initiatives. Leaders can demonstrate their commitment by actively participating in safety training, regularly reviewing safety protocols, and allocating necessary resources for wellness programs. Visible leadership involvement can inspire employees to prioritize safety and wellness in their daily activities. Reducing substance use in the trades isn't about, it's about fixing systems, cultures, and access to support. So we know that the skilled trades are the backbone of our community and economies. They offer opportunities for stable, rewarding careers where individuals can take pride in their craftsmanship and contributions. Skilled tradespeople are essential for building and maintaining the structures we use every day, from homes and schools to bridges and skyscrapers. Their work ensures community well-being through economic growth, infrastructure development, and charitable contributions. The trades industry is vital for job creation and the provision of essential services that support the daily lives of individuals and communities. Skilled trades workers are the foundation of thriving communities, and their expertise keeps our world running. When individuals bring technical skill, problem-solving ability, attention to detail, physical strength, and strong communications to their work, they don't just build structures, they build opportunity, stability, and progress for everyone. Key outcomes from the peer recovery support programs, improved retention and reduced turnover. Peer recovery support services help employees sustain recovery, which directly reduces absenteeism and turnover, enhanced productivity and engagement. Employees in recovery who receive peer support are more likely to maintain engaged and productive. Peer coaches provide mentorship and accountability, which translates into better job performance and fewer workplace disruptions. And a lot of the times the peer recovery supports are someone that's in recovery themselves. So it reduces that, shame and guilt. And we know that like when they're coming to a peer, that individual knows they have something in common with them. Lower health care and safety costs. Positive workplace culture. Peer recovery programs foster inclusivity and reduce stigma around substance use disorders. This creates a culture of openness and support, which strengthens morale and team cohesion. Evidence across settings. Studies show peer recovery support is effective not only in community and healthcare settings, but also in workplaces and in trade organization. Benefits include, again, improved treatment adherence, reduced criminal justice involvement, and a stronger long-term recovery outcomes, which is reduced absenteeism and turnover, and improved safety, and stronger retention of skilled labor. So in conclusion, substance use creates real challenges in the workplace. It can affect safety, decision-making, and overall job performance. That's why awareness and understanding are so important. When people know we're talking about it, problems can be addressed earlier and more effectively. With the right strategies, clear policies, training, and supportive resources, we can improve safety, health, and productivity for everyone. Creating a culture that focuses on support rather than stigma makes a huge difference. And when employers, employees, and community partners work together, prevention and recovery efforts become much stronger. In the end, collaboration and compassion are what help workplaces stay healthy, safe, and successful. So what are our next steps? Our next step is training 2 in the series of 4, and that training will be on developing a culture of supportive recovery, which is an overview of culture and supporting individuals in recovery in the trades and workplace. And lastly is thank you very much all for allowing me to do this presentation. I hope you got something out of it. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Have the QR code up for the post test, and I will also.
Do we have any questions? I have one for you.
Yes.
So it seems like since 2020, there's been a lot of positive changes, with recovery and helping people and feels like we're moving in the right direction. And it seems like there's since then a lot of trends in the right direction. Are there any trends that you want to comment on, any positive or negative, just kind of trends that you see happening right now or something down the road? Or
I feel like one of the positives is, I feel like stigma is being reduced. And again, like the education and learning what substance use really is and knowing, like I said in the presentation, it's not a choice that we make, it is a brain on-off kind of switch. So people understanding that and not judging people for having a substance use disorder, I think also allows for people to come out that do have a substance use disorder or that need help. I also believe that when someone does finally get the courage to problem, the timing and getting them help is crucial. Because again, our brains are constantly working, and that we talked about the dopamine, and the dopamine wanting that, more of a substance there. So you have to move quickly. The one sad part is, well, opioids are less. That's a good part. But they're coming out with, people are coming up with new drugs, and new trends. And it's just being able to keep up with everything that's going on. But I feel and I believe that the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, who gave us this grant, feels that like the more that we educate out in the community, the better it is for people to get into recovery. To know that it's out there and it's available, and again, that they're not the only one going through it.
Agree. Like I said, since 2020, there's been a lot of positive changes. Addressing stigma is one, obviously. Education like this is another one.
Right.
As far as the legal aspect, and you touched on policies are changing too. Any sort of lessons learned that you heard of? Any sort of, maybe the company went down the wrong road or something, or anything to share that people to keep an eye out on as far as policy goes?
I don't have anything on that. I will definitely look into that though, to have that for the future.
Yeah,
Patty,
it
do
just
you have
seems.
anything? Patty's hopping on here.
Hopping on. I was just trying to do it. So yeah, Nikki, you did a great job. So much information. One of the things that we will talk about a little bit further is developing that workplace is recovery ready. Legally, my suggestion is always to find out. Almost every organization has someone that has some legal knowledge, whether it be the attorney, whether it be a group of attorneys, or whether it be someone in HR that has that knowledge. My suggestion always is find out what the law is. For me, I encourage people to say, listen, there are so many positive things about hiring people in recovery. There's so many positive things about identifying that people may have an issue and then helping them with that. So people will ask, well, can I do drug tests? Well, sure, but you have to have some policies in place that delineate when, where, why, and how, things like that. So yeah, it is important with the legal issues, and we will touch on that again in a few weeks. I'm not the last one, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I do want to add one thing, and Patty made me think of it, and it's not, I mean, we had worked on a grant for 5 years, and we were helping individuals early in recovery from substance use disorder find gainful employment. And she said about it, like be giving people a second chance. And I feel like that's super important because I worked with like over 300 individuals in a 5-year period, and all they wanted was that second chance to get in to show, because again, and I'll say this from experience, I am in long-term recovery, and we are very hard workers when we put that use to good. And I feel that the individuals that I work with showed that through that second chance hiring. And that again, that'll be on another training, but giving someone another opportunity, and there are other things that you can have like to back you, which again, we'll talk in the future as far as federal bonding, and there's a labor law. But those are the things that are like super important because, we talk here about substance use and educating people that don't have it, but then the people that have it and getting them to where they need to be because, and we live a productive life, so, and second chances are huge.
Mm. Thanks for that, Nikki. Really quick, I just want to add that I did put my email in the chat. If anybody's looking for a copy of the slides, the presentation, we'll gladly send that out to you. We'll send one to John and then go from there as well if you're requesting it. So, and any additional questions you may find that you're thinking about as you're ending this. So we appreciate it. But Nikki has one more thing, right, Nikki?
Well, one other thing I did want to ask, and I wanted to ask this at the beginning, if you could put your email address in the chat, or maybe I did, no. If you could put your email and address in the chat, that would be great. Just so we can, know who's here. Again, all this is confidential, but we can send you the brochure on our Pro A Works that we are doing, and again, other trainings or more information, whatever anyone is interested in, that's what we're here for.
Got it. Is there a post survey, Nick?
Yeah, I did say that. The post
sorry, got it.
survey, yeah. The QR code is up there. I'm gonna stop oh, well, I had that up for a couple minutes. I'm gonna put that link in the chat because I had to get that one. This is for the post, just in case you don't do QR codes.
Thanks, Nikki.
Awesome.
Yeah, and thank you again. I appreciate everyone's time, taking the hour lunch, yeah, to get educated, and we'll be back in February.
Yeah, absolutely. February 25th, hybrid at the Pannoni offices or online. I will send out reminders. But thank you so much. This was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You.
Be well, be safe.
I'll follow up. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.